They never freeze up. It's just the water is constantly flowing through them, and no matter what temperature, it never freezes. I gotta fill up jugs now. I can't just sit here and talk about water all day.
For over a decade, viewers of the hit Discovery Channel show Alaska, The Last Frontier followed the incredible lives of the Kilcher family as they battled the brutal elements of the Alaskan wilderness. Atz Lee Kilcher, one of the show's main stars, was known for his bravery, strong work ethic, and deep commitment to living off the land. Fans admired his fearless spirit as he hunted, built cabins, and helped his family survive extreme winters without the comforts of modern life. But while the cameras captured the beauty of survival, they didn't show the storm brewing behind the scenes. Recently, Atz Lee has found himself at the center of legal trouble, serious controversy, and personal struggles that eventually led to the cancellation of the beloved show. In this article, we'll take a closer look at what really happened, from the life-threatening accident that almost ended everything, to the legal violations that shocked fans, and finally to the heartbreaking end of Alaska, The Last Frontier. Atz Lee's story took a dark turn in 2015 when a terrible accident nearly claimed his life. While hiking in Otter Cove, Alaska, Atz Lee fell off a cliff that was almost 40 feet high. He was accompanied by a friend named Mark, and as the daylight faded, the trail became harder to navigate. In the darkness, Atz Lee slipped and fell, resulting in life-threatening injuries. He broke his arm, ankles, hips, and several ribs. Even worse, he punctured both lungs, making it hard to breathe. It was a horrifying moment not just for Atz Lee, but for his entire family. Fortunately, Mark had a satellite phone with him and quickly called for help. Paramedics arrived by helicopter and rushed Atz Lee to the hospital. His wife, Jane Kilcher, learned about the accident through a midnight phone call that turned their lives upside down. Atz spent months recovering in the hospital and even longer at home before he could walk again. He later shared photos from his hospital bed, thanking fans for their support and expressing how the accident humbled him. But the recovery came with another cost. He could no longer hunt or build as he used to, which also affected his ability to appear regularly on the show. While many thought the accident was the lowest point in Atz Lee's life, things took another unexpected turn when he filed a lawsuit against the Otter Cove Resort, where the fall occurred. Atz Lee claimed that the resort didn't provide proper safety measures and failed to display warning signs on the trail. He sought $100,000 in damages, stating that the fall, and the lack of safety, had a huge impact on his health, career, and ability to provide for his family. The resort, on the other hand, refused to accept any blame. They argued that the accident happened because of Atz Lee's own actions and that it was not their responsibility to ensure every step on the trail was safe. The lawsuit drew mixed reactions from fans. Some supported Atz Lee, saying the resort should have taken better precautions. Others believed it was just a tragic accident and not something the resort should be sued over. Regardless of where people stood, it was clear that Atz Lee's legal battles were far from over. In fact, an even more serious issue from his past was about to resurface, one that involved Alaska's strict wildlife laws and reality TV filming gone too far. In 2014, a year before his accident, Atz Lee took part in a black bear hunting trip that would later land him in court. Along with a TV crew and other family members, Atz Lee used a helicopter to reach a remote area near Bradley Lake in Alaska. While this might sound like a normal way to get around the wilderness, Alaska has very strict rules when it comes to hunting. Using helicopters to access hunting grounds or transport hunters is illegal under state law. These rules are designed to protect the concept of fair chase, which means that hunting should be done on equal terms, without the help of machines that give unfair advantages. The episode showing the hunting trip aired in January 2015, and it didn't take long for authorities to notice something was off. A former employee of the TV production company, Wilma TV, tipped off Alaska wildlife troopers about the use of helicopters. This man, who was supposed to be the medic on the set, had concerns that the crew was hiding the true purpose of the flight from the helicopter company. Once the authorities investigated further, they discovered enough evidence to charge Atz Lee and Wilma TV with violations of Alaska's hunting laws. Atz Lee didn't try to deny his involvement when he was called to court. He admitted that the group had used a helicopter to reach the hunting site, but said that he never actually hunted or shot an animal from the aircraft. He explained that he was under pressure from the producers to get the shot and make the episode exciting. He also claimed that he thought using a helicopter was similar to using a float plane, which had been done in previous episodes. However, the law didn't see it that way. Whether or not an animal was actually shot, the act of using an aircraft to transport hunters to the location was enough to violate the rules. In February 2015, a judge handed down a sentence. Atz Lee was fined $1,500, and the production company, Wilma TV, received a much heavier fine of $17,500. The punishment may not have been severe in terms of jail time, but it left a dark mark on Atz Lee's image and raised questions about how far reality TV would go for the sake of entertainment. Fans were surprised and disappointed, and Discovery Channel chose not to make any public comments about the case. Following the court case, Atz Lee became noticeably more distant from the public. His once active Instagram account went quiet. Fans who were used to seeing posts about hunting, building, and spending time with family were left in the dark. It felt like the man who once proudly represented off-grid living had gone silent. Behind the scenes, the show also began to change. Although Alaska, The Last Frontier continued airing, the vibe was different. There were fewer appearances from Atz Lee, and the storylines became less focused on his adventurous spirit. Many began to wonder if the legal trouble had affected his standing with the network or if the pressure of public attention had simply become too much for him. While he never spoke publicly about leaving the show or stepping back from filming, the timeline suggested that the legal issues played a role in his quiet exit. For a man whose life was built around strength, resilience, and survival, facing public shame and legal judgment must have been a deeply personal blow. As if the legal troubles and injury weren't enough, Atz Lee's personal life also faced serious challenges. He and his wife Jane Kilcher were one of the most beloved couples on the show. Their strong bond, teamwork, and ability to survive together in the harsh Alaskan conditions inspired many fans. But reports later surfaced that the two had gone through a divorce. For a show centered around family life and traditional values, this was another major hit. The Kilcher's family unity was a big part of why viewers connected with Alaska, The Last Frontier. Without Jane and Atz Lee appearing together, the show's emotional core began to weaken. Fans noticed that newer episodes seemed disjointed, and the warmth that once came from their relationship was missing. While neither Atz Lee nor Jane confirmed all the personal details publicly, their reduced appearances and changed dynamics were hard to ignore. The family that once stood as a symbol of unity in the wilderness was now going through visible cracks. In addition to Atz Lee's legal battles and personal struggles, another major blow came with the injury of Otto Kilcher, the family patriarch. Otto had always been the heart of the homestead, taking care of the cows, fixing equipment, and guiding the younger family members. During one harsh winter, Otto was trampled by a cow while tending to the livestock. The injuries were severe, including multiple broken ribs. For a man of his age and lifestyle, this was more than just a physical challenge, it was life-threatening. The family had to shift focus from filming to caring for Otto. This moment reminded fans that real danger existed beyond the television screen. The combination of Otto's injury, Atz Lee's legal troubles, the family's personal issues, and behind-the-scenes drama became too heavy to ignore. Eventually, in 2022, Alaska, The Last Frontier came to a sudden and silent end. Discovery Channel didn't release an official reason, and the final episodes aired without any grand farewell. So why did Alaska, The Last Frontier really end? There was likely no single cause, but rather a mix of several things happening all at once. First, the legal trouble involving Atz Lee and the hunting violations cast a shadow on the show's reputation. Second, the family's personal issues, especially the rumored divorce between Atz Lee and Jane, changed the emotional tone of the show. Third, Otto's injury removed one of the most important figures from the spotlight. And finally, the natural decline of reality TV shows over time played its part. After 11 seasons, new storylines were harder to come by, and the original charm began to fade. For many fans, the end felt sudden and incomplete. There were no final goodbyes, no wrap-up episodes, and no closure from the network. But perhaps that's fitting for a show about living off the grid. Things don't always end with a curtain call. Charlotte couldn't visit him in the hospital due to the critical care restrictions in place. Luckily, he responded to the treatment and recovered on time. But the recovery process wasn't easy. Unfortunately, it was risky for him to be exposed again to the wildlife they live with on the show. Therefore, Otto's injury likely contributed to the issue. As a key figure on the show, his reduced ability to fully participate in the homesteading lifestyle may have influenced the show producer's decision to cancel the show. Another primary reason why the Discovery Channel canceled the show was due to the shifting viewer trends. In the early 2010s, there was an influx of survival and homesteading shows because viewers were fascinated by people living off the grid, especially in secluded environments. They lived the freedom and the closeness to nature. Alaska, the last frontier, fit perfectly into that wave. However, viewers' interest began to shift some years later. New reality shows also emerged and took center stage, drawing the audience's attention. They were interested in documentaries, with new genres like true crime, docu-series, and high-budget streaming dramas. Ratings of reality shows like The Last Frontier slowly began to decline, and the Discovery Channel had to decide what to keep and what to cut, and they chose to let the show go. There's also the financial side. The production of Alaska The Last Frontier was in Alaska, and producing a show in a remote location is quite expensive. The expenses of flying crews in and out, dealing with extreme weather conditions, and transporting equipment were high. Unlike other reality shows in urban areas, they also didn't have easy access to studios or technical support. Producing a season of the show required several months of preparation and coordination. The production team had a tight budget, and with the rising production costs in the TV industry, The Last Frontier became a costly project to maintain. However, perhaps the most crucial reason for the show's quiet ending lies in the growing number of legal battles associated with the Kilcher family, especially those involving Atz Lee. The show's production team and some of its stars were caught up in a case with regulatory bodies in Alaska for violations and breaches of hunting ethics. Atz Lee was directly. In the end, the story of Atz Lee Kilcher serves as a reminder that even those who live far from cities and fame can still face very real challenges. From near-death experiences to courtrooms, and from family heartbreak to the fall of a popular TV show, Atz Lee's journey has been anything but easy. While Alaska, The Last Frontier may be over, the impact it left behind remains. Fans still remember the strength, resilience, and raw beauty of the Kilcher family's life in the wilderness. Whether or not Atz Lee returns to the screen, his story will continue to live on in the hearts of those who watched him survive it all. Even though Alaska, The Last Frontier has ended, the story of Atz Lee Kilcher still draws attention from fans all over the world. People continue to search for updates about his life, hoping to hear how he's doing now. After all, someone who lives such a raw, intense lifestyle doesn't just disappear without leaving a mark. In the months following the show's end, Atz Lee remained mostly silent online. His Instagram posts became rare, and he stopped giving interviews or public statements. This quiet disappearance only added more mystery and curiosity. Fans wondered, was he still living off the grid? Had the legal and emotional battles pushed him into seclusion? Or was he simply taking time to heal and focus on his family and personal life away from the cameras? Despite the silence, Atz Lee's legacy from the show is still powerful. He became a symbol of perseverance, especially after surviving the 40-foot fall and coming back stronger. Many fans admired how he didn't hide his struggles, whether it was physical pain, emotional scars, or personal failures. He spoke honestly about the recovery process after the accident, showing pictures of his injuries, and sharing vulnerable reflections. These moments of openness made him relatable. He wasn't just a rugged outdoorsman on TV, he was a real person, dealing with pain, pressure, and recovery. That honesty is rare in reality television, and it's one reason fans continue to care about him even now. Another reason fans remain connected to Atz Lee is because they see him as part of a larger story, the story of American grit, family tradition, and the simple but tough life in the wilderness. The Kilchers didn't just entertain people, they inspired them. In a world where everything feels fast and digital, their slow, rugged lifestyle reminded people of what it means to work hard, appreciate nature, and stay close to your roots. Atz Lee, with his daring hikes, cabin building projects, and powerful resilience, was a central part of that inspiration. Even with all the controversies and missteps, fans still admire his strength and determination. For many, the show felt more like a real-life lesson than entertainment. Today, there are ongoing rumors that Atz Lee might return in a different project, possibly a spin-off, a documentary, or a book. Some believe he might share his version of events in a personal memoir, giving fans a deeper look into what happened behind the scenes. Others speculate that he may help produce content focused on outdoor living, bushcraft, or healing from trauma. While none of this has been officially confirmed, the interest is there. Atz Lee's story is unfinished in the eyes of many fans, and any opportunity to hear directly from him would be welcomed with open arms. If he chooses to speak out again, he'll likely find a community that's still listening and supporting him. Ultimately, Atz Lee Kilcher's journey is about more than TV ratings, court hearings, or accidents. It's about a man who tried to live life on his own terms in one of the harshest environments on Earth. He showed the world what it looks like to chase a simple life with courage and determination, even when faced with overwhelming setbacks. His story reminds us that no one is perfect, and even the strongest people have moments of weakness. But what matters most is how we recover, grow, and carry on. Whether or not he ever